सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। ॐ यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः। देवाय तस्मै नमः। Let us chant the first 3 verses together. ॐ श्री परमात्मने नमः। अथ पञ्चदशोऽध्यायः पुरुषोत्तमयोगः। श्रीभगवानुवाच ऊर्ध्वमूलमधः शाखम् अश्वत्थं प्राहुरव्ययम् छन्दांसि यस्य पर्णानि अधश्चोर्ध्वं प्रसृतास्तस्य शाखाः गुणप्रवृद्धा विषयप्रवालाः अधश्च मूलान्यनुसन्ततानि कर्मानुबन्धीनि मनुष्यलोके न रूपमस्येह तथोपलभ्यते नान्तो न चादिर्न च सम्प्रतिष्ठा। असङ्गशस्त्रेण दृढेन छित्त्वा। So the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita describes the samsāra-vriksha. That's how the chapter begins. So what is this samsāra-vriksha? It is nothing but the worldliness in us. So this vriksha has got the root. The main root is nothing but Bhagavan. Urdhvamulam. This vriksha is called ashvattha because it constantly changes. Ashvattha, that which never remains tomorrow, that which constantly undergoes change. The leaves of this tree, what are the leaves? The Veda mantras. The Veda mantras of the Karma Kanda portion of the Vedas. Then it has got branches which are spread above and below. What are these branches? They are the different kinds of worlds. which the jivatmas go through. Then it has got this bud. What is the bud? Vishaya pravala, the sense objects. Exposure to the sense objects make us interact with these sense objects, experience these sense objects. Experiencing the sense objects, they create impressions in the mind, ragadveshas in the mind, vasanas in the mind, which are nothing but mulani, the secondary roots. And these ragadveshas, these vasanas, in turn propel the person into performing more action. More action means more results. So the cycle is this: karma, vasanas, karma phala. As a result of karma phala, again karma, again intensification of vasanas, again greater karma phala, and this vicious cycle continues on and on and on, and slowly this karma phala comes in the form of a physical body. Karma phala comes in the form of habits, tendencies, personality formation, and then the environment around us, and finally the world around us. So this is how each and every one of us, we create the samsara around us. So then Bhagavan says, this samsara narupamasyeha tatha upalabdhyate. Its actual nature is never known. Where does it begin? Where does it end? It can never be found out. So naturally, if you don't know the beginning and the end, you will never know the middle also. To know the middle, you should know the beginning and the end, isn't it? Nacha sampratishtha. You can measure this hall. So there is a beginning, there is an end. So you can find out where the middle of this hall is. But suppose if there is something which doesn't have a beginning, it is beginningless and also endless. So naturally you can never find the middle also. Nanto na chadir nacha sampratishtha. So though we cannot understand the nature of this samsara, where it has begun, where it will end, we don't know anything. But then Bhagavan says, this samsara, which is the root of all miseries in life, this is a tree of misery. This miserable existence can be put to an end. How? Asanga shastrena dridhena chitva. Now, in order to understand this, we must know the fundamentals of Vedanta, which we had discussed earlier also, last year also, previous to last year also. How many of you are coming here for the first time? First time attending the talks here. Okay. So therefore we will just go through the whole thing once again, so that there is a continuity. So what is this fundamental of Vedanta? So first we will start with what is called as identification theory. Now it's a revision for those who have already heard. So what is this theory? I am sure you must have forgotten. When entity A identifies with entity B, the properties of B appear to be the properties of A. When entity A identifies with entity B, the properties of B appear to be the properties of A. This is called identification theory. So what was the example given? The famous movie theater example. That is a classic example. So what is this example? You go to a film theater, you sit down comfortably, and as the movie unfolds itself, you forget everything, you forget yourself, you forget the surrounding, and slowly you are absorbed into the movie, isn't it? Meaning, you get totally identified with the characters of the movie. And as you get totally identified with the characters of the movie, what happens? Whatever happens to the movie characters, the same thing starts happening to you. Isn't it? So the hero is happy, you are happy. Hero is miserable, you are miserable. Hero is anxious, you are anxious. So whatever the property is there of the hero, the same property as though it gets transferred to you. Now you are happy not because of your incidences of life, you are happy because the hero is happy, isn't it? This is called identification. So whenever you identify with someone or something, whatever happens to that person or that thing, the same thing starts happening to you. It's all because of identification. So in the movie theater, the whole arrangement is made in such a way that this identification becomes natural and effortless. So the whole thing is made dark so that you are not distracted by the surroundings. The picture is very clear, the audio is very clear, and thus you are totally absorbed to such an extent that when the hero is crying, you also cry. Isn't it? You are crying not because of your family problems. Lot of things are there for you to cry, but in the theater you are not crying because of your family problems. You are crying because of the family problems of the hero with which you are identified. Isn't it? So in the theater, you entered as a master, but you degraded yourself to the status of a slave. Why are you a slave in the theater? Your own mind is not under your control. Your own happiness is not under your control. Isn't it? Your happiness is determined by the happenings of the movie. So what is it that you have done? What is the sin you have done in the theater because of which you have degraded yourself to the status of a slave? There is one sin, and that sin is, instead of identifying yourself with the true you, you are identified with someone who is not you. Isn't it? Instead of identifying with the real you, you are now identified with someone who is not you. This is the mistake. So two mistakes. Number one, I forgot myself. Number two, I consider someone as myself. Two mistakes. Now let us keep this example aside. Let us come to the real world. In the real world also there are two entities. What are the entities? One is consciousness, the other is matter. Consciousness and matter. Now let us take, what is this matter? What is matter? Anything made of 5 elements is matter. What are the 5 elements? Akasha, Vayu, Jala, Agni, Prithvi. Space, air, fire, water, earth. Anything made of these 5 elements, that is nothing but matter. So the whole world that you see, it is matter. The body that you see, that is also matter, because it is nourished by food. Food is nothing but matter. What about the mind? Mind is also matter, because even the mind is nourished by food alone. If you don't eat food, your mind will be quiet that day. Take upvas and see the state of the mind. Mind will be quiet. The mind is quiet not because of yoga abhyasa. Mind is helplessly quiet because it has no energy to create trouble. Isn't it? So mind is also matter. Intellect is also matter. All thoughts in your mind, it is nothing but matter. Now there is only one thing which is not matter. And what is it? Consciousness. The consciousness in you. So when we use consciousness, we are not using consciousness in the meaning in which the medical people use. Medical people use consciousness as a state of mind. In spirituality, when you say consciousness, it has nothing to do with mind. Then what is the nature of consciousness? It is Sat, Chit and Anand. This consciousness is absolute existence, infinite existence, an existence which can never become non-existence. Sat. Sat also means truth, the absolute truth. It is Chit, it is consciousness. That because of which we are conscious of the world. That because of which we are conscious of Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. That because of which we are conscious of our existence. That consciousness because of which we are conscious of, aware of. That consciousness in us is the ultimate reality, or what we call as God. Then it is Ananda Swarupa. What is the nature of consciousness? It is bliss absolute. It is infinite happiness, infinite peace, infinite contentment. So this consciousness is absolute perfection. It is of the nature of infinity. It is of the nature of immortality. It is of the nature of bliss. In short, consciousness is perfection absolute. Now what do the scriptures say? The scriptures say, O Amritasya Putraha, O children of immortality, you are none other than consciousness. If I am that infinite immortal consciousness, why is it that I am not able to experience that bliss or that state of immortality? Why is it that I am not able to experience? Apply the identification theory. Instead of identifying myself with consciousness, now where is my identification? Not with consciousness, but with the body, the mind, the intellect. So what does the theory say? Wherever you are identified with, that you will experience. So what is the nature of the body? Body is finite. Body decays. Body dies. Body will have disease. Body will have old age. Now when you are identified with such an imperfect, finite body, you also start experiencing imperfection. You also start experiencing disease, old age, death, etc. When you identify with the imperfect body, you don't experience the perfection of consciousness, you experience the imperfection of the body. Similarly the mind, similarly the intellect. They are all limited, they are all finite. Because of my identification with the imperfect, I experience imperfection. So what is the solution if I have to experience my perfection, which is my true nature? I don't have to create it. It is already there. It is me, myself. If I have to regain my experience of perfection, what should I do? Instead of identifying with what I am not, which is nothing but the body, mind, intellect, which is something observed. I am the observing consciousness who is observing the body, mind, intellect. Instead of identifying with the body, mind, intellect, I should identify with the consciousness. So what are the 2 steps? Number 2, stop identifying or disidentify from what you are not. identify with what you are. That is what is mentioned here. Asanga-shastrena dridhena chitva, meaning disidentify. Next verse, what is the next verse? You will find the first line is Tataf padam tat parimargitavyam. Then inquire into that truth. This is called identification. Disidentify from the unreal, identify with the real. Bas. This is all what you have to do. Anyway, let us chant the next verse also. Tataf padam tat parimargitavyam yasmin gatana nivartanti bhuyah tameva chadyam purusham prapadye yataf pravrittif prasrita purani tataf padam tat parimargitavyam yasmin gatana nivartanti bhuyah yataf pravrittif prasrita purani. Yes. So this is the only solution to experience perfection. The spiritual scriptures say, oh man, you are already perfect. You are already infinite. You are already of the nature of bliss. You don't have to create anything. You are already born perfect. You are made in the image of God. God is also Satchidananda. You are also Satchidananda. There is no difference. But then, if you have to experience that divinity in you, what has to be done? Stop identifying from what you are not. Start identifying with what you are. Exactly like in the film theater. Now you are crying in the film theater because the hero is going through a lot of tragedies and miseries. You are crying. Now what is the solution? You want to stop crying. How can you stop crying in the theater? There are two ways. Number one, pray to God. Oh God, save this hero. It may work, it may not work. But there is a sure way which will help you stop crying. What is it? Stop identification. Stop watching the movie for some time. Take out your mobile, play some video games. Look around. Everybody is crying like you only. And within few minutes you will find your crying also stops. Why? Now you are no more identifying with the miserable hero. Now you are identifying with yourself. You have withdrawn your attention from the unreal world to the real world. The cause of your misery was your oneness with the unreal world. The moment you stop identifying from the unreal world, misery also stops. This is the sure method, isn't it? Bhagavan says here, if you want to put an end to your samsaric movie, this is also a movie which is going on now. And the unfortunate part is, in the other movies there is some comedy, there is some fun, there is laughter. Whereas in this samsaric movie, it is a tragic movie. The end is always misery only. The end is always death. Lord Death has the final laugh. That is the nature of this world. So now the choice is yours. You can go on enjoying the movie, going through ups and downs in the movie, or you can put an end to this samsaric movie. How to do it? Asanga-shastrena dridhena chitva. Cut it off. But when we don't have this knowledge, what do we do? Look at the world around. What are we trying to do? Every one of us, deep within, we are miserable, we are empty, we are imperfect. We experience that state of finitude. And now we are trying to escape from this suffocation of finitude. Remember one thing, everyone will desire for immortality. That desiring immortality is natural to you because your nature is immortal. Nobody wants to die. Everyone wants to live forever and ever and ever. From where did this desire come from? This desire has come because you are already immortal. An immortal being can never like or appreciate death, non-existence. It is not possible. Your nature is immortality, so therefore you will crave to become immortal. But when you don't have this knowledge, what will you try to do? You will try to make the existence of the body immortal. You will try to extend the existence of the body. Now tell me, is it practical? You desire infinite life. Can you make this body infinite? Can you make this body immortal? Not possible. But when we are ignorant about this fact, this is what we try to do. Varieties of desire. You just observe the kind of desires. I may not be alive in this world, but I will live in this world through my children. No, that is foolishness. I may not be alive, but through my children I will live forever and ever and ever. Or sometimes they give lot of donation to the temple so that their names are written everywhere on the slabs, stone slabs. I may not be alive, but at least my name will remain forever and ever and ever. And such donations they give, their names are written on the tube light. The brightness of the light is gone, their name is seen there. Such kind of donations they give. I may not be alive, but my name is there forever and ever. Isn't it? These are all the desires to become immortal through indirect ways. But the desire is the same. What is the desire? I want to be infinitely happy and I want to live forever and ever and ever. This desire is absolutely natural because that is your real nature. But then when we don't have this knowledge, when we take ourselves to be the body, we try to be infinitely happy through the body, which is impossible. This is the mistake we commit. We try to seek happiness from the world through the BMI. So when I'm identified with my body mind, when I look within, I don't find the infinite happiness of consciousness. Instead, I find the finite nature of the BMI, which is nothing but misery. So inside when I look, I don't find happiness. So naturally, where will I turn to for happiness? Outwards. So now I try to make happy. I try to make myself happy. I try to fill the inner emptiness through the outer world. Now my attention is outside. I am trying to seek happiness from the world. And whenever I am not happy, I think maybe if I have this, I will be happy. Maybe if I become that, I will be happy. Maybe if I go there, I will be happy. Now these are all mere imaginations of the mind, and you continue from one birth to another, endlessly searching for happiness, trying to become this or that, trying to gain this or that. And do you become happy? Never. The samsara continues. That is the meaning. Nanto na chadir na cha sampratishta. There is no end at all. You are going on trying to get happiness from the outer world, and this search is going on for very, very long time. And the search will go on infinitely till the knowledge is gained. You can continue this journey. So Now the varieties of ways in which we think. I am not happy maybe because I don't have education, so you get education. Maybe I am not happy because I don't have a job, fine, you get a job. Maybe I am not happy because I don't have a better job, okay, you get a better job. Maybe I am not happy because I don't have a house of my own. Maybe I am not happy because I don't have a car. Maybe I am not happy because I don't have a bigger car. My neighbor is having a car bigger than me. Now see the various ways in which your own mind is cheating you. Trying to show happiness somewhere there. Not here, there. And you are chasing happiness. Like mirage waters, it keeps on going away from you. The moment you get what you want, you find that you are no more happy. Something else is there in front. Maybe I am not happy because I am not married. You get married. Maybe I am not happy because we don't have children. You have children also. Maybe I am not happy because the child is not studying well. Every time, suddenly, the moment you get it, suddenly somewhere else the mind points. Not here, but there. And the samsara goes on and on and on. Endlessly. Isn't it? Some people, throughout their lives, they keep on changing houses. So first they have a very small 2 BHK house in the heart of the city. And they when earn more and more, they think, maybe I am not happy because the house is very small. And children are also growing. So let me have a bigger house. So 5 BHK. In the heart of the city. Then you find that there are a lot of noise pollution and air pollution, because it's the center of the city, lot of traffic is there. Then suddenly a desire comes. Maybe I'll be happy if I shift my location deep into some forest, into some estate, some farmhouse. There will be peace, fresh air, fresh water. I'll be happy. And this person, now he has already invested a lot here. Another few years, constructing a building in the middle of some forest. And they all of them shift there. Few days they love the nature, beauty, this, that, etc. After some time, again the boredom creeps in. And moreover, they slowly grow old also. Now when you are far, far away from the city, you will have a lot of problems. Electricity will not be there regularly. For every little thing you will have to come to city, because in the forest you won't get anything. And moreover, you will not get servants also to clean the house. Big bungalow is there, who will come to clean? And the couple is getting old. They are not able to, manage the house. And that fear is also there. We are staying lonely. We are staying alone. Robbers may come, thieves may come. We have nobody to help. So they rear some big Alsatian dogs also. And the fear creeps in. If suppose something happens, because hospitals are all far, far away. Then what happens? Again shift back. Sell that house to somebody, come back to the city. Now what happened? The children have grown up. They are all settled in the foreign countries, US and UK. Now only the old couple is there. 5 BHK house. Now what will you do? Sell it again. Come back again to 2 BHK. From 2 BHK to 5 BHK to forest, and then again back to 5 BHK, again come back. Throughout their life, only changing houses. And there are some others who are changing jobs throughout their life. And there are some others who are changing spouses. I don't know spouses, you can say. Wives and husbands, they keep on changing. I am not happy maybe because of this woman or this man. Change. And within 1 or 2 years, again divorce. Whole life is gone in this only. in trial and error method. There are people who get married at the age of 80 and 90 also. This is what is called nacha adi, nacha anta. You go on and on and on, not knowing where the problem is. Actually, the problem is here, but he is projecting the problem outside. Maybe because of him I am not happy. Maybe because of her I am not happy. Maybe because of my children I am not happy. House I am not happy. Job I am not happy. What is the cause? The cause is not outward. The cause is me, myself. I am the cause of my unhappiness. This they are not ready to accept. The ego in me will not allow me to accept that I am the problem. When I am the problem, wherever I go, I will face problem, isn't it? So this is how sometimes people try to escape from the miseries of samsara. But know for sure you cannot escape. And there are others who don't try to change the situation. Instead, they try to expand themselves. Because now that you are identified with the BMI, so whenever an improvement in the BMI is seen, you feel some kind of happiness. And whatever is related to the BMI, when there is an improvement, you find some kind of happiness. They misunderstand this to be the real happiness. Again, they are caught in a trap. Let me make it clear with a story. So there was a person. His name was Ranganna. Ranganna. His job was to ring bell in the temple. That was the job given. An illiterate man. So whenever the Mangaluru used to happen, this person's job was to ring the bell. A very old, ancient temple. Very many Europeans and foreigners used to come to that temple. So the temple authorities decided that people who are the staff, they should learn English. Because all the Europeans are coming. And so therefore all the staff should know minimum of English. The ordinance was passed. Poor Ranganna, he tried his level best to learn English, but he could not. So therefore, after that deadline, they found that this fellow has not learned anything. So then, they made him resign from his job. So poor Ranganna, illiterate man, dejected, depressed, as he was going out of the temple, he was very exhausted and tired. He thought, I will have a cup of tea. Yesterday was coffee, so I thought I will make it tea today. So he looked around. He found that flowers are there, fruits are there, photos are there because it's a temple. But he found that there is not even a single hotel or something where he can have a cup of tea. He had to walk kilometers to have a cup of tea. So then he had a desire. Definitely there will be very many people who will be having a desire like me. And anyway I have lost my job. Why not try this? So the next day he brought one cart. One kerosene stove. One dabba of sugar. One dabba of tea powder. And then he stood there at the outside. And he made a board also. Tea. So he found that there was a very good response. Because there was no hotel anywhere around, people came. And whoever had the darshan of the Lord, they would come out, they would have a cup of tea. Then he thought, good, The place is very good. Why not have some biscuits also? Because definitely when you have a cup of tea, you would like to have some snacks. So another 2 dabbas, some cookies, some biscuits. Then he found that there is a very good demand for that. Then he told his wife, why don't you make some upma, some pongal, some chitran or something? Because the place is very good and there is a very good demand for all this. Along with tea, definitely people would like to have some snacks or some tiffin. Now his wife was a very good cook. So she cooked some, vessels of this and kept. There was a very good demand. And slowly the crowd started increasing. Then what happened? Then he thought, people who are having food, they should be comfortable. So then he got some 2-3 umbrellas, big umbrellas. He fixed it here and there, put some wooden benches so that people can sit there and comfortably eat whether rain or shine. Slowly the crowd started increasing. He took the help of his wife also, but it was difficult. Because one has to handle the cash, the other has to supply, the other one has to wash the vessel. Difficult. So he thought, why not buy a plot nearby and start a proper hotel? By that time he had made enough money also. And with the money he purchased a plot there and he made a hotel there. Now naturally a big hotel, he needed help. So what did he do? He brought all those unemployed youngsters in his family, his brother's children, his sister's children, or unemployed, not doing anything, whiling away their time. He called all of them and he said, see, now we are going to start something and I need help. Somebody should be there to count the money. Somebody should be there to cook the food. Somebody has to wipe the table, clean the place. A lot of helping hands are necessary, so I need all of you. He called all those youngsters. And he said, I will pay you well, provided you do work. And how should you work? He gave a training to them. What is the training? He said, look, in any hotel, these 3 are very, very important. Number 1, the quality of food. Number 2, cleanliness. And number 3, service. You should serve the people in such a way they should feel happy. The food should be very clean and food should be very, tasty. If these things are taken care, hotel industry is going to bloom. So he inspired these boys. And thus the hotel started. Very, very good response there because that's the only hotel. And people just loved that food. So tasty. People were so nice, loving, helping, service-minded. Now slowly a big rush was seen there. People would say, if you have to eat masala dosa, you must go to this hotel. And by the way, he had given a name to the hotel also. He named the hotel Hotel Ranga. What was his name? Ranganna. Hotel Ranga. So they would say, if you want to eat idli or masala dosa, you must go to that hotel. So this became the talk of the town. He minted money like anything. So one day what happened? A person who saw this, he was very much inspired. He approached Ranganna and he said, Ranganna, you can see how your hotel is prospering. Why not you start lot of branches in the nearby city? I come from the nearby city. I have a plot of my own. We will have a partnership. I will give the plot, you construct. And then the profit we will share. Ranganna thought this is a good idea because now he has a lot of experience of how the whole hotel industry has to be taken forward. So another hotel was started. Then another one, then another one. Now there was a series of hotels everywhere in the prime localities, in the metropolitan cities. Then he named it. What is it? Ranga group of hotels. Lot of hotels. And then he found one day when he was sitting alone. Whenever you sit alone, new ideas strike, you see. Many people get new ideas in the bathroom when they don't do anything. Anyway, one idea struck him. Now the competition is increasing. Hotel Ranga has become a brand name. But we have to increase the quality still further. How to do it? Now he was a man who knew the pulse of people. That was a time when this organic thing was, creating a craze in the city. Everything organic, lot of demand. So what did he do? He went to the village, called all the big farmers who had acres and acres of land. He called them and said, see, I am the owner of the hotel Ranga. All the farmers said, yeah, we know, he's very famous. Yeah. So he said, see, listen carefully to me. You have to cultivate, now I am in need of spices, condiments, vegetables, I am in need of it. But you have to cultivate the way I instruct you. My father happened to be a farmer, so I know a little bit of farming also. And I know one thing, whenever the cultivation is made, vegetables are made with natural, manure, etc., it is more tastier. Instead of using all these chemical fertilizers, etc., don't use all of them. Use natural manure. The taste is more. So therefore, you will have to cultivate in a way in which I tell you. And what is the reward? I am ready to give double the price of the market value. You cultivate the way I want. I myself will purchase from you. You don't have to go and sell. You don't have to transport it, because all of that will cost money. I will bring my people, my truck, I will take it and I will pay you double the amount. The farmers looked at each other. What a wonderful, bargain. Double the money, no effort. Only thing you have to cultivate. They said, done. And very soon, organic things were produced. Organic spices, organic condiments, organic vegetables. Now he had his own processing unit where all these spices were powdered and packaged. And these packets were sent to all those hotels, Ranga hotels. And then what happened? Naturally the people loved it. He put a board also outside the hotel. In this hotel, food is prepared with organic vegetables, with organic spices, homemade food. Rush was greater and he made lots and lots of money. He was number one in the entire country. One day another idea struck him. What is the idea? My hotels are all there in the prime localities. Why not convert these hotels into 7-star hotels? Because people are addicted to these two things. Number one, food. Number two, comfort. Why not give them 7-star comforts? So he called all those contractors and builders and architects, the best ones in the city. He discussed the matter and all of them said, yes sir, it's a very good proposal, because your hotels are all there in the metropolitan cities. Definitely this business is going to click. And thus all his hotels were converted into 7-star hotels. He minted crores in it. Right. Shall I continue? It's now going to be a mega serial now. Mega masala serial. A little more I will include. Okay. So now his articles started coming in the newspaper. How a person from rags to riches, how he grew. So these reports were read by some foreign delegates. So a group of delegates from the foreign country, they came. They said, "Sir, we have read all these things. Hotel Ranga, it should spread all over the world, not just India." The agreement was signed. And this Ranga, he was illiterate. So when a pen was offered to him, what did he say? No. He took one ink pad, pressed it, Anguta chap. Then one of the delegates, he said, "Sir, even without learning English, you could conquer the entire hotel industry. What would have happened if you had learned English?" He said, "If I had learned English, I would be still ringing the bell in the temple." Right? So, a few more statements and then I am going to wind up. So these hotels, they spread all over the world. It became an international brand. And then somebody came and said, "Sir, now that you have become famous, why don't you step into this education institution also? Because in the world there is a craze for this international school. Every parent wants their children to be in the international school studying in English medium. There's a very great prospect, very great possibility of earning wealth through that. Now that you have already a lot of money, why don't invest in that also?" He said, "Yes, that's a very good idea." Because all these parents, to bloat up their ego, they want their children to be in the international school. And you can make an international school out of a 30 by 40 site. Only thing is you have to have influence upon the education minister. And he had the influence. So he got some international schools made here and there. And what was the name of the school? Right. Ranga Educational Institution, let us say. So then somebody came and said, that was also successful. "Sir, now that you have gone into this educational institution, why don't we start hospitals also? Because nowadays, every other person is sick. Once upon a time, people were sick because of malnutrition. Now people are sick because of more nutrition, because of overeating. And every hospital is full nowadays. So why don't you start these hospitals also?" He said, "That's also a good idea." And he again started hospital. So now what name should we give? Ranga Institute of Medical Sciences. Another name. Then somebody came and said, "Sir," not somebody, Chief Minister himself came. He had a personal meeting with Ranga and said, "Ranga, sir, you have become famous all over because of your hotels, because of your education institutions, because of your medical institutes. Why don't you join politics? Because now you are famous, you have entered into the heart of everyone through their tongue. You have become famous, you are a known figure. So why don't you join my party? We will see to it that you win, because people like you we need, because we need funds. And moreover, you will be powerful, influential, and who knows, in the future you will also become a chief minister, who knows?" Ranga thought this is a wonderful idea. So he joined that party. Let us call that party, what party? Indian Political Party, IPP, let us say. And then what happened? He joined the party. And within few years, there was a rift between Chief Minister and himself. Then his faction of people said, "Why don't you create your own party? Because that Chief Minister is jealous of you. And if you make your own party, there is all the possibility you will win and you will become a chief minister. So he felt, yes, that's right. So he made his own party. So what is his party? Now you should say, Indian political party within bracket R. R means Ranga. Ranga faction. And then once you start your party, then you are very busy. So one day he was traveling in his Mercedes Benz at a very high speed, and suddenly from the other side one truck came and hit, and Ranga died. I deliberately killed Ranga because I have to finish my chapter. Because I am not interested in any mega serial. This story I can keep on telling you for the next 4 days. Why 4 days? 365 days. Yajna can continue. The purpose why I extended this story so much is only to tell you what is samsara. Because samsara is also like this. Na adi, na anta. Every time you think there is something better to do in life, and you think it is very, very important also, and the whole life is gone. Not one life, millions of lives are gone. Just to give an inkling of it, I had narrated this much. I have wasted my time so much on this fictitious character called Ranga. Now what is his condition? Just look. Earlier he was a poor, miserable man. Later he became a rich, miserable man. Remember, misery continues. Earlier he was an unknown, miserable man. Later he became a famous but miserable man. Earlier he was a powerless, miserable man. Later he became a powerful but miserable man. Misery continues. Earlier he was a miserable man without luxuries. Later he became a miserable man with luxuries and comforts. What is a constant companion there? Misery. And remember one thing, the problem with this samsara is, the more the attachments you have, the more will be the misery. Because what is the nature of samsara? These are the two main features of samsara. Number one, unpredictability. In this world, everything is unpredictable. And number two, perishable nature. So, unpredictable nature and perishable nature. So, what happens when you are attached to something which is unpredictable and perishable? Can you be happy? Never. There is anxiety. Whenever there is something unpredictable, there is anxiety, worry, stress, strain, etc. And when something perishes, you become dejected, depressed. So in short, what are you doing? Your misery is continuing, not just continuing, it is only increasing. This is the nature of samsara. We think we are becoming happier by becoming richer, by becoming prosperous, but actually no. You are only tying down yourself through all these worldly attachments. The misery continues. As they say, the grass looks greener on the other side. Everyone is like a cow running. Oh, there it is more greener. Run, run, run. When you reach there, somewhere else it appears greener. And the running continues. Run, no, run. So that is why the name is autobiography. What is autobiography? Biography of an auto. Auto means what? Which keeps on running. So what do the scriptures say? The scriptures say, my dear man, as long as you are searching for happiness outside, you are chasing mirage waters. Now you may have one question. Swamiji, does it mean that we should not be creative? Are you discouraging us to become creative and successful in life? No! That is not the point here. If you find there are very many Mahatmas who are literally building organizations after organizations. For example, Chinmaya mission itself you take. What did Gurudev do? It may appear that his life was also like Ranganna. One mission center after another. Now what is the difference between Ranganna and Swami Chinmayananda? The difference is Ranganna was working for happiness. Swami Chinmayananda was working out of happiness. This is the difference. The question is, are you working for happiness or are you working out of happiness? Are you working out of fullness or are you working for fullness? This is what makes the difference. We are not saying you should not be successful in the world. What we are saying is, real satisfaction, real fulfillment, real happiness can never come from the outer world. It has to come only through right knowledge. And that right knowledge is, you are already full. You are already infinite. You don't have to add anything to you. You are already perfect. Then what is life? Life is nothing but a sports, a leela. Out of fullness, you perform your work in the world. Don't perform action for happiness, perform action out of happiness. Now, out of happiness means you should already be happy. How to gain that? This is the only way. What is the way? Know yourself as you are. This is the only way. Any other way you try, it is not going to work. Now let us come to the real sadhana. How to know myself as I am. Now this is the main topic now. So what is being said here? So the two things said is, asanga shastrena dridhena chitva tataf padam tat parimargitavyam. So as I said earlier, so at the seat of meditation you will find these two entities. What are the things? Number one, consciousness. Number two, the thoughts in the mind. One is consciousness, the other is the thoughts in the mind. This is what happens at the seat of meditation. So who are you? You are consciousness observing the thoughts. Now what are you supposed to do at the seat of meditation? Instead of identifying with the thoughts, learn to identify with consciousness, which is the real you. What is the mistake we do? We identify with the thoughts instead of identifying with consciousness. Consciousness represents God, thoughts represents world. At the seat of meditation, if you are running after the thoughts, if you are getting identified with the thoughts, then you are a samsāri. But if you are identifying yourself with the consciousness, you are not a samsāri, your name is sannyasi. Choice is there. Do you want God or do you want the world? In the seat of meditation, you can find out yourself. Whom did you choose? Whom are you choosing? At the seat of meditation, you will come to know. If your mind is wandering, what does it mean? You are interested in the world only. If your mind is rooted in consciousness, that means you are not interested in the world. You are interested in God, which is your true self. Are you able to understand? So, asanga shastrena dridhena chitva means disidentify from the thoughts, withdraw your attention from the thoughts, Tataf padam tat parimargitavya means identify with consciousness, which is tat padam, which is that supreme state, which is that ultimate state of reality, which is none other than God Himself. In life, you can make this choice. Whom do I want? Do I want God or do I want world? Whatever you choose, you will get it. This is a law of nature. If you want God, you will get God. If you want world, you will get world. But if you are choosing world, then samsara will not leave you. That is called samsara. You are a samsari because you have chosen samsara. And because you have chosen samsara, you have chosen misery. Because world is nothing but full of unpredictabilities, full of impermanence. Right? Now this is the highest meditation which we are talking of. We are not talking of some form of God, some Vishnu or some Brahma or some Ganapati. No, this is the highest meditation. That God is none other than your own true self. You don't have to search Him anywhere. He is the very self in you. He is the very consciousness in you. And if you can shift your attention there, you will directly experience the Sat, Chit and Ananda Swarupa. To the extent you can fix your attention upon this consciousness, you will start experiencing bliss, happiness, perfection, contentment, infinitude, which is your own true nature. To the extent you can identify with consciousness, to that extent you can experience your perfect nature. But to the extent you wander with the thought, to that extent you will experience only your finite nature of the BMI. Choice is yours. But Bhagwan, can you give some tip so that this meditation can become easier? So the next line is that tip. What is given there? Tameva chadyam purusham prapadye. At the seat of meditation, what should be your attitude? If I want to make this meditation smoother, easier, effortless, what is the initial preparation that I should do? So what is being said here? Now here is a beautiful prayer. It's a prayer of the seeker. And what is that prayer? Aham prapadye, I take total refuge unto that Supreme Lord, Adyam Purusham, the primeval being, the Supreme Being. Who is He? Yataf pravrittif prasrta purani, from whom the entire creation has begun. From whom all the activities have begun. So here the attitude is that of surrender. At the seat of meditation, what is it that you have to do? Withdraw the attention from thoughts, pay attention to consciousness. But if your mind is not pure and prepared, you will never know which is consciousness and which is thought. You will find as though the thoughts and consciousness, they are a homogeneous mixture. So then what is the initial preparation? Make your mind fit for meditation. And how to do it? Develop devotion for God. So here is the prayer. Start with surrender. Now this is a big topic. In detail we will see tomorrow also. And it's a very important topic because very many people are stuck here. Intellectually they understand all the spiritual knowledge, they understand it, but they are not able to successfully meditate because this aspect is missing. Tameva chadyam purusham prapadye. The preparation of the mind is missing. So now here we are not talking of a beginner. Here we are talking of a person who has lived an intelligent life based on Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga is absolutely essential. Only then this meditation can be performed successfully. So what is Karma Yoga? We had seen long back. 3rd chapter was conducted here only. Maybe some 2-3 years back. So essence of Karma Yoga is this. Performing all actions as a worship of the Lord. Pouring out your best. Making use of your abilities and talents for the welfare of all. Keeping the bigger picture in mind. Working in a spirit of ego, without ego and egocentric attitude, selflessly, not in a spirit of competition, but in a spirit of cooperation. If this way when you work, performing all actions as a worship of the Lord, then what happens? The mind becomes pure. And this pure mind is necessary for doing higher meditation. So here is a person who is a Karma Yogi, who has lived his life dedicated to God. Now what do you mean dedicated to God? So whenever he performs an action, the first question he will ask is not, what will I get? His question is, if I do this, will God be happy with me or not? By doing this, am I pleasing God? If I am pleasing God, I will do it. If I am not pleasing God, I will not do it. I may like something, but if He doesn't like it, I will not do it. I may not like something, but if He likes it, I will do it. You understand? So I am not performing action based on my likes and dislikes. I am performing action based on whether it is dharma or adharma. And what does Bhagavan like? What does Bhagavan expect from us? He expects that we should all perform our action based on dharma, based on righteousness. So this way this person is living. He is living his life. He is performing all actions not for himself but for the sake of God. Because in him, for him, the relationship with God is the utmost priority. In his life, the first priority is my relationship with God should improve day by day. Should, strengthen day by day. Now, how can you strengthen relationship with anyone? When you start doing according to the likes of the other person, the relationship is strengthened, isn't it? I love somebody. So if I want to strengthen the relationship, what should I do? I should do that which the other person likes. Isn't it? The same is true with God also. There are certain things which He expects from us. Now here is a devotee who has converted his life as a sacrifice. That is why in the 3rd chapter, the term used is yajna bhava. Yajna means sacrifice. So here is a devotee who has sacrificed his life to God. Now what do you mean sacrificing life to God? Sacrificing life to God means doing whatever He likes. Living a life pleasing God. Now how do you know whether with your action God is pleased or not? Whenever you do certain action, and whenever there is a cheerfulness in the mind, lightness in the mind, happiness in the mind, understand God is pleased with you. Whenever there is a conscience prick inside, understand God is not happy with you. And slowly, as you live this dharmic way, slowly there is more and more clarity. You slowly learn to observe the within. You slowly learn to tune yourself to God. You are able to listen to God. You are able to understand His instructions, His guidance. This happens slowly. As you live a dharmic way, as you start living a spiritual way, slowly you are able to tune yourself to God. This doesn't happen in a day or two. It takes time. And then what happens? Very many times you are facing difficulties in life. Very many times you see only darkness in life. Very many times you stumble. And all those moments when you fail, when you struggle, it appears as though life has ended. In those rare moments when you look up, seeking the guidance, mysteriously you are guided, mysteriously you are enlightened, mysteriously you are consoled. Whenever you are stuck up somewhere, you find that there is a hidden hand of God which is guiding you. And all those moments, they are the treasured moments of life. You are stuck, nobody is there to help you, and you surrender from the depth of your heart. You seek guidance, and the guidance comes to you. In those such rare moments, the relationship becomes strengthened. And when very many such incidences happen in your life, what happens to your relationship? It becomes very, very strong. To such an extent that you start considering Bhagavan as your father, as your mother, as your guide, as your solace, as your guru, as your friend. Tvameva mata cha pita tvameva, tvameva bandhuscha sakha tvameva, tvameva vidya dravinam tvameva, tvameva sarvam mama deva deva. This happens. It is not a mere verbal statement. It happens and you have experienced it. And this way, when that relationship has become really strong, you come to know you are not doing anything. You are a mere instrument in His hands. Things are happening through you. And when you know this, you come to know that you are absolutely nothing. You know absolutely nothing. You can do absolutely nothing. You possess absolutely nothing. It becomes very, very clear to a devotee. Whatever I am, it is because of Him. When this kind of experience comes to a devotee, then comes this prayer. What is the prayer there? Tameva chadyam purusham prapadye. To that infinite Lord, the primeval being, who is my very existence, because of whom I survive, because of whom the world is there in front of me, because of whom each and every cell in my body is functioning, the one who has given me the abilities and talents to function in this world, unto that Supreme Lord I completely surrender. The first step is trying to cultivate this kind of an environment in the mind. An attitude of gratitude, that attitude of humility, that attitude of love and devotion, that attitude of surrender. When that heart is filled with these kinds of emotions, then that mind becomes a fit instrument to do this meditation. And what happens when you do this meditation? Very clearly you see consciousness observing the thoughts. Very clearly you see a divine presence which is your very existence. Very clearly you intuitively feel that that God is not somewhere outside. He is my very self. He is not different from me. He is one with me. He is my own higher nature. This experience is not an intellectual experience. It is a direct, intuitive experience. You find that you are not away from God. You are one with God. And when you have this experience, Then Bhagavan says, Yasmin gata na nivartanti bhuyah. When you experience yourself as this infinite consciousness, as immortal consciousness, as perfect consciousness, as blissful consciousness, when you come to experience this state of perfection in you, will you have any kind of other desires? All the desires end. And when all the desires end, is there any need for you to come back again to this world as a samsari? No. The samsara ends. For such a person who has become one with the infinite reality, Bhagavan says, na nivartanti bhuyah. Such a person doesn't come back again. That is his final birth. And that will be his final death of the mortal body also. He is a liberated soul. He is a realized sage. What kind of lifestyle his will be, that is the next verse, which we will see tomorrow. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet, asato ma sadgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityorma amritam gamaya. Om shanti shanti shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.